My name is Hannah, and I did my Masters with Good Health Design and looking at combination between communication design and painting and how the two of those could work together in a healthcare space to bring joy and looking at the different patient experience with those elements coming through. And so within that we looked at a way of using painting as a research method, which created the Thinking Through Colour toolbox. So there were 3 case studies. Probably good to say that this happened during COVID as well. So the 3 case studies were born from that time of needing to slightly change tact, but also using different spaces within the hospital to explore the overall themes of the research. So we looked at one of the patient spaces in North Shore Hospital, which was the rehabilitation space, and I did some interviews there with patients and staff looking at how a painting and specific colours within that space might help with the way that they feel and with their rehabilitation. So that was a really lovely part of the research that I loved. I also conducted a few workshops using prototypes of the painting toolbox. So they ran throughout the year and kept improving them each time, looking at how we could focus on using painting as a way of helping people explain what they might think or feel about a certain topic. Yeah. I guess I didn't realise I would learn so much about myself through the process and my way of working and the way, maybe I guess also how strongly I felt that creativity needed to be interwoven through healthcare and how important design is in that space. And so it's almost like once you start digging, you just realise there's so much more to uncover, and you're never going to be able to discover it all within the space of the Masters, but it's a really nice way to start your journey. And then realise that there's even more study to be done later. I think I found asking for help very challenging. I'm quite used to working on things on my own, and I definitely found it hard to ask for help when I knew I was stuck, and I just kept wanting to figure it out on my own and persist. But actually you've got supervisors who are there and who are amazing and want to be helping you through the journey, so asking for that guidance is not something to shy away from, and I definitely learned that. I think I also learnt that with research you might have an idea that you start with, and actually as you do the research it sort of follows a few different paths, and it's the challenge of deciding which path to go down and which one to explore the most. That was a bit tricky. I think postgrad is the most amazing way of really investigating what means a lot to you and what you want to do in terms of your career, and how that can be fueled by the research you do in your Masters or postgrad. It's a very rare time of your life that you get to spend such a concentrated amount of time focusing and researching on one thing that you are passionate about, and that's not an opportunity that you often get. So to be able to do that, and with the resources that the uni has and your supervisors and all of the research materials, you have access to so much that you might not get in another opportunity. So it's a really lovely way of I think understanding yourself and the way that you work and what it is that you're really interested in. After finishing my undergrad, I went and did a few years work in the industry, which were great, and I got some great experience from that, but I also just felt that there was something missing. There was something that I wanted to explore deeper, and potentially an area of work that I wanted to enter into, which I didn't quite have the knowledge of how to do that or even where to begin. And that was the healthcare side of art and design. And so instead of just launching into it and trying to get a job there, I thought it would be really important to actually have the knowledge and the research behind why I wanted to do that, and also to figure out which part of that industry I wanted to be working in. So I think having that time between undergrad and postgrad was a really important time for me to just work out for myself what was important for me in life and what was going to be important in my work. Doing research and learning how to research brings about a sense of confidence within you as well as rigor. So the depth that you go within the research, instead of just floating an intuitive idea, and actually figuring out what it is behind that idea that can set it in motion in the real world, or gives it validity in the real world and makes people understand what your ideas are and why you think that way. You need the research to back it up, and doing a postgrad really helps set you on that path, and you learn how to do that. Yeah. So my first piece of advice would be, don't be afraid of the research question, and don't worry that will change over time. The first question that you think of will probably not necessarily be the one that you end up with, and that's okay, because I think it's good if it does change. It means that you're learning along the way, and you're discovering deeper things, and you're honing in on what it is that your research is going to be about. So don't worry too much about that. My second piece of advice is cherish those supervision meetings so much. I definitely did, but I also wish that I had maybe asked for more help when I needed it earlier, rather than fretting about it for 3 or 4 weeks on my own and then bringing up the problem or the challenge that I was facing. Just address it straight away, and your supervisors will help you through it. Yeah. And then my third piece of advice is start your writing early. Don't leave it to the last minute. Even if you feel like you're writing, because I definitely thought I was writing the whole time, but compiling it into something that makes sense, do that earlier. It's been an interesting one. You go from having people around you constantly inspiring you and bouncing ideas, and helping you through the challenges, and so to then be leaving that sort of environment can be very daunting and scary. I particularly have chosen to do freelance, which is maybe even more scary, starting something on my own, and figuring that all out as I go. But I definitely think that doing the masters has helped set me up for that. So now I know how to do research, and I know how to approach people much more confidently than I think I would have beforehand. And it's also given me a huge sense of direction of where I want my work to go, rather than just finding any client willy-nilly. It's actually got a focus to it, and I think ultimately the masters will hopefully help other people too. That it's really what I want, is to be able to help other people, and make art and design known that it's important in healthcare and in life. Yeah. Running the workshops, I loved doing the workshops, hearing what people thought, seeing people come into a room and see paints and instantly back out and freak out that they can't paint. But then once we started easing into the workshops, I loved seeing the way that people just totally got into it and embraced their inner child, and the conversations that came from that were amazing, and I just wanted to sit there and talk to these people all day, so that was really lovely. And of course a highlight has to be doing the huge painting, which I've never done a painting that large before, and seeing the impact that had on a space, and I guess the culmination of some of the research ending up in a physical art piece was really nice highlight.